guys, thanks so much for stopping by my channel. In a minute, you'll see the IG live that Justin and I did this week talking about the Dexcom G7, Justin's experience so far with it. He's been on it for about a week, as well as some really exciting things coming from Dexcom in the future. If you still have questions after watching, please be sure to drop anything in the comments. Justin and I will be in there answering anything else that you want to know. Last but not least, please be sure to subscribe to my channel as well as all of Justin's channels. He's an awesome resource for learning about technology and diabetes. And without further ado, here's the video. Enjoy! Okay.
There it is. We're here.
Woo!
G7.
Yeah! I'm still on the 6. Oh wait,
Yes.
Here we are.
Look at that. Well, let's put them both up. Let's show people what they look like side by side. Look at that. Look at that difference.
Oh my gosh. Before and after.
Very exciting.
I can't wait to go on it. And I'm so excited to have you here chatting about it. But before we get into that, for anyone who doesn't know, my name is Meg. I'm over at Beats and Beaties, and I talk about my life with T1D, nutrition, food, running, everything like that. I am on the G6 right now, Dexcom, and the Omnipod 5, which integrates with the G6. And yeah, and so we're here chatting, and we'll have this conversation up on the YouTube, up on YouTube later as well. And Justin, want to tell us a little bit about yourself?
I'm Justin. I'm also known as Diabetic Tech on Instagram and TikTok and on YouTube. And I, a year and a half ago, was diagnosed with type 1 diabetes. After being diagnosed for a while with type 2 diabetes, the community on TikTok found some videos I was posting and basically diagnosed me. And so then I decided to continue to post as I was learning about type 1 diabetes and just diabetes in general, and kind of share that information and those experiences and those fears and overwhelming moments with people. And it kind of just like kept growing, and I just really enjoyed doing it. And now I'm wearing the G7.
So exciting.
And I wear Omnipod Dash, I wear G7, and they are currently looping using an app that's not FDA cleared called Loop. So I'm wearing the G7. I had like the awesome opportunity of going to San Diego this past weekend to try on the new G7 and also go to Dexcom headquarters. And I also got an interview with Dexcom CEO where I took like a bunch of questions that I received on Instagram and sent them his way, and he responded. And there were some pretty interesting answers, some big announcements in that interview, which we'll probably get into in this. And if you do want to watch that interview, it's on my YouTube channel, which you can find with the link in my bio. And if you didn't hear in my intro, I'm Diabetic Tech on TikTok and Instagram and YouTube. And did you hear my fun story about how TikTok diagnosed me earlier? Yeah. Did that work?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay,
yeah,
good.
Yeah.
So I'm like, that's a good story.
Yeah.
Okay.
Power of community for sure.
Good, good. I love how we're like, let's have a plan for if the internet doesn't work. I'm like, my internet's fine. Oh my God.
Okay. So,
and thank you, Meg. Thank you for having me on your live, or
of course. Welcome.
for doing this like two-parter.
Yeah.
This is going to be the G7, and then in 2 weeks we'll be talking about Omnipod 5, which you've been on for a while.
Mm-hmm.
But today is all G7.
Yep. Okay, so let's just start from the beginning. Let us know about everything that has to do with the insertion. Like, what is that process like? How does it differ from the G6? And I think you do have some stuff to show us with that as well.
Props. I've got props. So, yes. So, first of all, this is the new applicator for the G7. So, the way it works is this is a button here. This is the button. So, you open this up. This is like a fake one. And then right here, you would see, like, as you open it up, you'll see, like, the adhesive at the bottom of this and, like, an actual needle. And so what you do is you'll take it, you'll put it on your arm, or it's only FDA approved for behind the arm currently. I think we're going to get into some more stuff on that later, which you should still ask me again. Anyway, you take it, you put it on your arm, you push it down, and then you press the button, and it goes, and it applies. So the difference between G7 and G6 is the G7 applies like straight down, whereas the G6 went like, and the reasoning for like kind of the shape of it is because the needle and the strand kind of went in at an angle like that. And you can kind of see that like with the actual G6 that like, you see how it's like angled?
Mhm.
When you take off the G7, see like right there, when you take off the G7, it's actually like straight down. So it's a shorter strand as well. Because it
And
basically is reaching the same depth.
okay. Does that change anything? Like comfort or compression load? Like, is there any benefit to that?
So a few things I've noticed and some stuff I've heard from Dexcom. So does it change compression lows? I hear there's no difference in compression lows. When it comes to like pressure on it.
Mm-hmm.
But if you think about it, because the G7 is slightly like thinner, I guess there's like less of an opportunity of it to be like pushed against something.
Yep.
But compression lows, there's no difference. There's no improvement from what I know. And then wait, there was another part of your question. What was the other part?
Is it more comfortable? Like any differences like that?
Yes, that's it. Yeah. I haven't noticed a difference really. Like it's super comfortable. Like I don't notice it's there. I've only been wearing, this is my first one, so I've been wearing it for a full week now. And I'd say like if anything, because it's like, look at how significantly smaller it is. So like that's the G6. That's the G7. This is the G6. So if you look at like thickness wise, like it's significantly thinner. And I would say that like I definitely like notice it's there a lot less. Like I completely forget it's there. Truly.
Yeah.
It's
so
amazing.
we just got a question too. Like, are you on this for good, or are you just trying out this one? Like, will you kind of be on it for longer?
Well, so here's the thing. Like, I'm gonna continue G7. I have some G6s left that I'm probably gonna sprinkle in over the next however many months. You know, like I have the ability to kind of switch between the two. But like, if I didn't have G6 on me, like I would be only on G7. And for the most part, like I'm gonna stick to G7. Like I may even wind up giving my G6s to my friend who is using G6 right now. So because I'm just like so excited about it. It's working and I like it. So yeah, there's no plans to switch really from G7. Like it's working really well, and we'll get into the app and stuff like that. But yeah, and like I said before, maybe you heard, I am already currently looping with my G7 and my Omnipod Dash. The Omnipod Dash is the last version of Omnipod. There's Omnipod 5, which is the newer one, which you're on, and these two are talking to each other using this app called Loop that's not FDA cleared. You kind of have to build it yourself, and I made a video about that, and it's in the link in my bio if you want to learn more.
Awesome. So going a little bit still on that like insertion topic, where can it be worn? So I know we have one question specifically, can it be worn on the abdomen? Is it kind of everywhere that the G6 is, or are there any differences there?
Yeah, so here is the thing. In the United States, it is only FDA cleared on the back of your arm. And for adults. For children, I think under the age of 6, they're allowed to also do it on like the upper buttocks. Now, I asked the CEO of Dexcom in our interview, which is on the link in my bio, I asked him, could people wear it in other places? Or rather, I asked, will they eventually get it FDA cleared to be in other areas? Which you'd hope that, you know, why not, right? I don't know what money goes into it. Anyway, he said that there are no plans for Dexcom to get a clearance in the US for other locations. But he was like, in Europe, it is cleared to wear it on the abdomen. And he's like, do what you will with that information. Talk to your doctors. This is how I feel. This is not, and none of what, by the way, none of what we say today is medical advice. We're just really like talking about our own experiences. But what works for you works for you. Talk to your doctor. If you don't mind losing a sensor, like if kind of using one as a test, try. What I would do is I would try it somewhere new. That's again up to you. Yes, I just saw someone asked if we're going to save this video. This video, what's happening right now, will be posted on Meg's YouTube channel. And then we're going to be doing one in 2 weeks that's on Omnipod 5. That's going to be on my YouTube channel. So You'll be able to find those with links in our bios to get to our YouTube channel. Okay, yeah. Both of those YouTube channels are in there. Will I try it on the abdomen? Yes. I'm going to. I'm absolutely going to.
Like, I want to try everywhere. I want to spread it out. I don't want to like get any build up scar tissue stuff anywhere. So I'm someone who just goes.
Yeah, and one thing, Meg, also, at least from what I know, is that with CGMs, they don't cause, or they won't nearly cause, like scar tissue. Pumps 100% will, and it's important to rotate.
Like having the adhesive on.
Oh, yeah.
Just like the like dry skin, red.
Oh, 100%. 100%. Yeah.
So speaking of that, just like having it on, we have a question. I believe it's adhesive, not adherence, but how does the adhesive compare to the G6?
Oh, sorry, can you say that again?
Yeah, how does the adhesive compare to the G6? So like, does it stay on just as well? Is there like discomfort? I know people's skin is all different and everything, but just your experience.
And I asked the CEO this question as well, or I asked like kind of what the differences were. So what I know is the adhesives between the G6 and G7 are different adhesives. So it's possible that if you have some allergy or reaction to the G6, it's very possible that with the G7 you won't. Who knows? You'll have to try to find out. And there are ways to kind of, block the adhesive from hitting you and use a skin grip. Now, for me, I think I have pretty resilient skin. I don't really have reactions to much. So for me, G6 has never caused any issues besides maybe a little dry skin. But the G7, same thing, no issues, and the adhesive is phenomenal. I mean, like this is it's a week, right? Okay, so check this out. Like, it's not coming off at all. This is a full week. I also, like, there was one day in the last week where I showered like 3 or 4 times because I just kept like getting dirty and like was working out a ton. So yeah, and I never shower 4 times in a day, but that was just like so like I've showered consistently many times. It's not humid. Humidity does tend to change things for me. The thing is, I'm going to Mexico next week though, so I'll get the humidity test on it, and I'll let people know on my channel how that
like
goes.
Ocean and pool and all that stuff. Like,
right. Yeah. Oh my goodness, I didn't even think about that. Oh, well, this is going to be a great test. I'll do a reel.
Perfect test.
I'll do a reel on that. I went to Mexico with the G7.
Like each day.
Yeah, I'll do that. Yes. Let me write it down. Thank you.
Oh my gosh. So somebody says, hold on, I'm just reading all these questions. So we kind of answered how well does it stand without overlay. You're saying pretty well. What about the accuracy? I know I've gotten that question a few times when I was asking for questions too. Have you noticed any differences? Or I know you're not wearing it side by side with the G6, but just in terms of even that first 24 hours, I know on the G6 can be a little bit rocky, a little choppy. Yeah. What has that been like?
So a few things there. From what I've seen from other influencers who did wear them side by side, they were pretty consistent. But personally, I will say the first day did seem a little rocky to me. I didn't do side by side tests with like my glucose meter or a G6, so I don't know like necessarily how they compared. Just some dots seemed a little sporadic on the first 24 hours. Now it's always different on I have that with the G6 sometimes too, and then in other areas of my body or even other areas of the same arm can react differently. So it's hard for me to say like accuracy. I've been wearing this for 7 days, you know what I mean? Like, it's hard to say how accurate it is, and this will be something that I continue to understand fully as if I'm getting false lows or whatever. Like, so far though, I will say no false lows. 0. It's been 7 days. No false lows, no false highs. It's felt pretty accurate. I will say like the see if I can show like a good screenshot. Actually, like, you know, this is actually better than it was the first few days. The first few days I felt like it was the dots were a little spread out, like kind of like,
Yeah.
like still showing the trajectory, but a little spread out. But right now, this is the last, this is a new app. This is the last 6 hours, and it's pretty, the lines are pretty,
Can you show
app
what the difference of the app looks like?
Yes. So I don't have the G6 app downloaded anymore, but this is the G7, and let me mute my texts because there is a group chat going on already in Mexico.
Class. Oh, that's so fun.
Yeah. So here's the app. This is the G7 app. Now let's see if I can.
Ooh, so updated.
The G7 app, right? So the cool thing about G7 is that now, guess what? Clarity is in the app.
Clarity's
no need to leave the Dexcom G7 app. Clarity is in it.
That's really cool.
Which is, yeah. And then I can change, I can change the amount of days. Now, here's the thing. From what I was told and from what I saw on other people's devices, from G6 to G7. For some reason, mine is not using old data. I need to specifically ask Dexcom. It may be a glitch. It's not the worst glitch. Like, I can just go to the Clarity. Everyone's data should be synced, and I'm sure that's something that a kink that they'll figure out. So you don't need the Clarity app anymore, technically, from a question, but it could be a good idea to hold on to the Clarity app just for a second to see if it's synced. So there you go. There's that. Then, you got the number on top. The cool thing is, and I guess this existed in the last one. You go sideways. I don't remember. Could you do this in the last one? But I can change between like up to 24 hours. Could you do that?
Yeah.
Okay. I forget already. And then there's a tab. There's a tab for history. Now, this is where you can put in different events. So you can put in blood glucose, when you test your blood glucose, what type of insulin you put on, meals. You can put in meals as you eat them in the app. You can also put in activities. And currently, I believe it's very simple. You can't go into like you can't go into specific like I ran, I lifted. But they do plan on eventually bringing that to the G7 app, which is
it's kind of you'll be able to like recognize patterns and stuff a lot easier. Like when they do activity, like my blood sugar drops and stuff like that. That's really cool.
And what Dexcom said is that ultimately they want the G7 app to be the home for everything logging when it comes to food, exercise, your Clarity information, everything. They want Dexcom to kind of have all that information for you. So that's going to be the history tab. Could you do that on G6? I don't remember. I didn't use it.
I feel stupid.
People check out your G6 app. Don't leave the chat. Let us know. So then this is connections. So you can see my sensor, 4 days left. But guess what? I have 4 days left, but there is a full 12 hours after the sensor expires that I can still wear it. So that's a half a day. So that means technically the G7 is supported for 10 and a half days currently.
Oh, cool.
But something big came out of my interview with the CEO. I asked him, I was like, hey, listen, I've heard rumors that the G7 will be supported for longer. And he was like, yes, not on launch, but we do plan on, and it already is built to last 15 days.
Wow.
And that's their goal. So now there's some reasons as to why people are going to say, and I even had this initial reaction, well, why isn't it being sold as that now? Why can't we get 15 days? And the unfortunate answer is insurance companies, right? When you get a prescription, you get a month's prescription or a 90 days prescription. If Dexcom says, and the reasoning that it doesn't last 15 days yet is a big adhesive issue that they want to work on. So if they were selling it as 2 a month and it didn't last that long, things will get all wonky. Yeah. So right now it's 3 a month, 10 days, but they did add on that extra 12 hours.
That's really cool. And on that kind of same note, I think what's a really cool improvement as well is that it's not a separate transmit and sensor, which for me, I always got into weird snafus where I was like, I have one more transmitter, but not a sensor. And so that's really cool too. So can you kind of like show the difference?
Yeah.
Was
Also,
that,
yeah, I have like 2 transmitters. I'm
Yeah.
like,
Where
what
did
is
that
going
come?
on? You know, like, yeah. So I mean, think about it, right? So Dexcom G6, we got a sensor and a transmitter. These go together. You need both of these. This is an all-in-one device. This is the sensor and transmitter. And when you're done with it, it goes in the garbage. Diabetes is wasteful. But I think it's less, it's less waste though, right? So like, this is like significantly smaller than the G6. And I showed people earlier, but if you weren't here, this is the applicator for the G6, which is that the packaging is more eco-friendly. There's no more plastic. It is just cardboard, and cardboard is way more recyclable. It like actually gets recycled. Plastics, who freaking knows?
Just goes somewhere.
I recycle.
They don't tell us.
Yeah.
Okay, so one question that we're getting a ton in the question is a dual one, which is when will it be available with Omnipod 5 and when will it be available with T-Slim?
Okay. So let's start with T-Slim. So T-Slim announced not too long ago, there's a post on my feed if you want to get a little more information on my Instagram. T-Slim said that they will have a closed loop system with G7 support 3 to 6 months after the FDA clearance of G7. Now that happened on December 7th, the clearance. So that means that we could see support as soon as 6 days from now? I don't think that's going to happen. That's 3 months, 6 days from now. I don't think that's going to happen. But I am optimistic that we'll see a T-Slim support with the G7 closed loop in the next 3 months. I think that's very possible. I think they gave that 3 to 6 month margin to be safe. That's what they hope for, though. We're hoping for the best. Now, when it comes to Insulet, which is the owner of Omnipod, the company that owns Omnipod, they haven't announced anything. They are going to support it. That is well known. But they haven't announced anything, which to me means that it may take longer. In my interview with Dexcom CEO, which you can find on YouTube, he said that this is what I think he said, because I listened to it 3 times, and now everyone please go watch it and let me know what he said. I think he said, quote, roughly, first of the year, which sounds like 2024 to me.
Wait,
that's what he said.
For Omnipod?
First of the year for Omnipod support.
Yeah.
That's what that means, right?
I will text it for you.
Yeah. Watch that
and
comment.
Switch when it becomes available. So I won't go on G7 until it's compatible, because I like mine too much.
That makes sense. This is what I think.
Yeah.
If you're on T-Slim Omnipod 5 closed loop system, I would say stick with G6. Don't leave that. It's such a closed loop system is, in my opinion, and in many people's opinions, the best way to manage diabetes. Not only for better glucose levels, but for sanity. Like the amount of life that you can just enjoy is just incredible. Yeah. Now, if you're a looper, if you use the non-FDA cleared system that I use, G7 is already supported. And let me tell you, setting up G7 was as easy as tapping a button. Literally, all I did was tap G7 and it went boom and it was connected. Whoever built a huge group of people, the We Are Not Waiting movement, an incredible movement. These people, the amount of effort and work to just make it as simple as that, it was just mind-blowing. So then there's that. Now, there's a couple other people out there, right? There's people who are MDI, multiple daily injections. If you're MDI, why not? It switched from G6 to G7. You're not closed loop. If you're using, I really love that Smart Pen.
Oh, the In Pen.
The In Pen.
Yeah.
I love that. If you're MDI, I highly recommend looking into In Pen. That will, I don't know actually if there's support between In Pen. You know what? I need to look into that. If In Pen is supported, I mean, that should be a seamless switch, but I'm going to look into that. If you're In Pen, just make sure that G7 is supported. So MDI, for the most part, I'd say I'd recommend going and getting the G7. And then if you're Omnipod Dash, if you're T-Slim and you do not use closed loop, like if you're like if you're someone who just like will not use a closed loop system, yeah, go for G7.
Yeah.
Why not?
Yeah, no harm in it. Yeah. Yeah. So what you're kind of saying, to sum it up, is like the benefits of G7, it's not so big that it would be worth going off the loop just to have it. It's like, it's worth waiting for the integration as well.
Yeah, I think with the G7, you're getting a lot of great features and size, but the G6 is so fantastic. And it's not worth getting rid of the closed loop for the G7. Yeah. I'd say if you have a closed loop system, Omnipod 5 or T-Slim, Connect Q, stick with the G6 until there is support for G7 for closed loop, in my opinion. Yeah, just to clarify, because one person was confused.
We're not saying we don't recommend, we're saying, again, we're not doctors, this isn't medical advice, but looping or being on Omnipod 5, like personally, is more important to me than having the new Dexcom. So I'm going personally to wait until the 7 becomes compatible with the 5, and then I'm going to go. You can do whatever you want, live your life, do it. But I personally think it's worth waiting to keep utilizing the tremendous benefit of having that closed loop.
I agree.
Cool. Okay, so let me see. I think we got a few.
While you're looking for questions, I just want to remind people that this live here will be on Meg's YouTube channel. You can find a link to that in her bio. And then in a couple weeks, I think March 15th, we're going to be talking all about Omnipod 5 with Meg. She's been on it for a while, and we're going to get into kind of how that works. And that video will ultimately be posted on my YouTube channel, which you can find with a link in my bio as well. Yep. So if you have to leave, if you didn't get to ask your questions, you can comment on those videos with your questions, and we'll get back to you. And there's also an incredible community that follow us that will also get back to you, which is incredible and amazing, because you are, this is just an amazing community. And thank you for watching. We're still going, but thank you for watching.
So really only the one question that we haven't answered, we have a few repetitive ones, is just, does it lose signal often? Like, have you experienced any loss of the Bluetooth? I don't know the right terms, but like any of that.
It's Bluetooth. It's Bluetooth. And speaking of Bluetooth, remind me to talk about Apple Watch support. Let's talk about Apple Watch.
Oh, so, yes. Oh.
Yeah, we'll get into that next. So I've been wearing it for 7 days, and so far I've had 2 signal losses. Each signal loss lasted anywhere from 5 to 15 minutes. That's, it's hard for me to say whether or not it's better or stronger or worse than G6. I've only been wearing it a week, so it's hard to say like it's, better or worse, but those are the facts.
Okay.
2 signal losses, 15 minutes each.
Okay.
And the phone, at least for one of them, the phone was right next to me. I don't remember the situation with the other one, but I remember being like, oh, that's weird. Like, the phone's right here.
Yeah. Like, that shouldn't have happened.
Yeah. But, like, it's weird. Like, it could have been a pillow. Like,
yeah. And sometimes, as we experienced about 30 minutes ago, sometimes technology just says no.
I know. You're going to have to film, like, a different intro. Because it's like, let me know.
Oh my gosh. So if anyone has any last questions, drop them in.
Let me talk about Apple Watch support.
Oh gosh.
Yeah. Feel free to ask your questions. Meg will keep an eye on that.
Yeah.
Apple Watch support. This was something I asked in my interview with the Dexcom CEO. I what is it? It must have been, you know, a few years ago. Maybe I wasn't really in the know that long ago because I'm newish to the community. But Dexcom had said that support for Apple Watch, direct connection to Apple Watch, would be coming. They said that about the G6, and it never came. So I had to ask, will the G7 connect directly to an Apple Watch? And what the CEO said, and I'm gonna say what I remember. He says it way better on YouTube, but he says that the G7 is built to connect to up to 3 devices at a time. That means it could be your phone, an Apple Watch, and the receiver, and then. And he said something else, and I forget what the other one would have been. But improved receiver for the G7 that's smaller, and I think it's smaller, and it also has clarity info on it. But so what he's saying is the G7 was built to directly connect to an Apple Watch, and that is going to be coming relatively soon. Let's hope. That would be incredible. I've heard from a lot of people that what their hopes are for something like that is that the G7 could, you know, on their child, they could just be wearing an Apple Watch and go to school, and then they'll be able to get that information on the follow app. So because I don't want my 6-year-old to have an iPhone, you know, or an Android device, whatever, like a phone. So I think that would be just one example of, like, you know, how that could be useful. Also, just like going swimming, I think that's one of the biggest things for me, right? I would love to be able to just take my Apple Watch, walk along the beach, you know.
For a run, like.
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah.
No.
I miss runs without a phone.
Yeah.
I miss that. You know, that was so nice. Yeah. That's a great one.
And while we're on that topic of Apple Watch, so to answer this question, does it have to have cellular? No, but if you wanted to use it, it doesn't.
So I assume cellular. I don't know so I don't know for sure if it needs cellular. I don't see why not. I mean, sorry, I don't see why it would. But I think the main thing that a lot of people want with the direct connection is like your child wearing it, so you can use the follow app. So like obviously, like if you wanted to be able to get it remotely, the information from whoever's wearing that Apple Watch, then yes, it would require internet.
And so we had another question too. What would be the reason to use receiver instead of iPhone? So I know a few people that use it instead.
Or phones in general too. It's Android works.
Yeah.
Dexcom, just to like clarify.
Phone. Some people just use receiver because they like having it separate. Another reason is if your phone loses battery a lot, if you're someone who's like, you know, whatever, or if you're in a situation where you can't have your phone, like because of your job, but you need something that can still read it. So that those could just be some reasons. Most people I know have it on their phone, but those would be kind of the reasons I think people would go for the
there's
receiver.
Super old school people out there that are like, I'm good.
Can we change the alert sound? So I think
that's a great question. Yeah, there are new alert features. There are a few things to get into on that. So first of all, there's an entire area similar to G6 where you can like go in and edit like alerts. You know how you can like change like the different alert sounds? Well, now not only can you change the alert sounds, but you can change like their intensity. There are 3 settings for each sound now.
So nice.
Yeah, so there's like high, which is like burr, 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 you know, like in case like you're someone who's like, I sleep through these. Then there's the like standard one, which I think is the one that we're used to now. I think that's the standard. And then there's a light one that's like a little more chill.
So that like when I'm taking an exam, it doesn't sound like the fire alarm's going off.
It sounds more like a text, and it'll be like you're cheating.
Yeah.
And now, so there are a couple things with that that are cool. So you can also create profiles. So you can have 2 different settings. So if you're like, you can create a profile, or actually not even just 2. I think you can have multiple profiles. Let's see if I can figure this out quickly. No, I think it may just be 2 user profiles. So look right here. So I have primary, and then I have alert too. I just created that one, but maybe I'll call it like movies, right? So when I go to the movie theater, I want my alerts to be more reserved.
Yeah.
But what's also cool is right here. You can set all of your alerts to just be vibrations.
So nice.
So if you're in the movie theater, and then not just that, you open it up and you can set a time amount, right? So if you're in a 2-hour movie and you're like, I want to make sure I get the alerts, like sounds in 2 hours, you just swipe that over and you can change it to like, 2 hours and 15 minutes, or you can do it indefinitely. And you can.
That's so awesome. Because you know what happens to me a lot is I'll turn them off for something like an exam or a meeting, and then I'll forget to turn them back on. And then it's like the middle of the night and I'm like, oh my gosh, wait a second. So
Yeah.
that is really, really like smart innovation. Really cool.
Yeah.
And
there's also an ability that is in Europe with alerts that's not quite in the US yet, because the FDA just kind of asked that of it for now, which is to snooze alerts. So if you were to get snooze high alerts. So this is not in the app currently. It is in Europe, but you can, like, if you get a high alert, you could snooze it for a certain amount of time. And that's not in this app. What is in this app is the ability to set a certain duration up to, I think, an hour, to offset your high alerts in case you're just doing like a little boop and you don't want to get alerted in that first hour. I had that on for an hour, and I have to say I didn't like it at an hour. I felt like an hour of being high was too long, and there were moments where I was high for an hour. I was like, I want to know, so I changed it to 15 minutes. I was like, if I'm high for 15 minutes, let me know. If I'm high, and if I wind up just being high for 5 minutes, I don't get that alert, and it doesn't get in the middle of my day.
Yeah. A little bit off topic, but back to the receiver stuff. So do you need the receiver, and do you have one as a demo?
I don't. I should have gotten one. Yeah, I didn't get it, which is nice too, because I wonder if there's like an added charge. I don't know the answer to that. I can find that out, but like I wonder if there's like a $60 starter pack, or if it's just included. I don't know.
Yeah, it's interesting because I feel like most people I know put it in a closet and have never looked at it again. Yeah. So I wonder if they're just like producing less of them, or if we're just speculating now, but we'll see.
Yeah, I don't know, and I don't. But you know what? I'll reach out to Dexcom and I'll get one, because I'll do like a little video on it and show it off.
Great.
Let me write that down.
And I'll
before I forget.
Stories too, so you guys can see.
Okay.
All right. To answer the question, does the G7 come with an attachable transmitter? No, it's all in one. The replay will be on the YouTube, and you can go back to that part.
This video will be up on Meg's YouTube.
Yeah. And you know what? There's one question that is an off-topic question, but I think it'd be like a lovely thing to end with. And that question is, for someone who is always looking for more of a T1D community, would you recommend being on TikTok? And I'm going to let you answer that one, Justin, because I know that TikTok has a special place in your heart.
Yeah.
Going back to.
So I think I was diagnosed with type 1 diabetes a year and a half ago. And that's thanks to the community on TikTok. I was misdiagnosed as type 2, which happens all too often. And that was for like 3 or 4 months. I was really sick. I was, being told to like take long-acting insulin and test my blood sugar. And I kind of started documenting it on TikTok. And then the diabetes community on TikTok found me. And these videos blew up in views and in comments, and everyone was like, hey, you have type 1, go get an endo, get a CGM, get a pump. And just like, I am astounded, and still to this day astounded, by the power of community on social media in general. And in that case, it saved my life. And I'm sure in so many other ways, in so many other communities out there, that social media, including TikTok, has shown support to people who are new to a disease or feel so alone in whatever they're experiencing. There's so much good out there. So I highly recommend finding that community, searching it. Search on TikTok and Instagram are very powerful. And if you search diabetes, T1D, T2D, type 2, that you will find a community out there. You'll find people like Meg and I that I think in many ways were inspired ourselves by other people out there to do this as well and to document, because we know how alone and scary and just, you know, anxiety inducing this disease can be. And to be able to come on here and talk to you and ask questions, answer questions, support is just incredible. And Meg and I met on social media and we got coffee and like just had an incredible time talking to each other and like, oh my God, this is so cool. Like we get it. Like, oh, I'm eating a scone. Like, you know, like like there's just something special about it, you know? And so I highly recommend anyone, like even if you're here watching and you're supporting someone with diabetes, but you're going through something, like search a community. There is community for you. And I highly recommend searching for it. And also I highly recommend not getting swept into social media too much, because I also feel like I think that's also important to like go live your life. You know?
Yeah. No, I completely agree. And even just like this conversation is an example of like, there's so much to learn from the people around us. Like I view you, obviously your handle says it all. Like you're such a tech guy. And like, I learned so much about that from you. And we can all like share our own like perspectives of diabetes and learn and grow. And whether it's just, you know, information and experiences like this or whatever, like everything helps us, you know, be the best we can be and like approach diabetes with like as much as, you know, we don't get a guidebook, but we can get community, which is the next best thing.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah.
And I'm so happy to have met you and everyone else on social media that, you know, that I get to talk to and you know, the stories I hear are just crazy and it's awesome to you know,
like
we be a part of this community. Like I feel like
the support, people like the support and knowledge saved my life. Like I feel the same way.
Seriously. And if people want to, and if my followers are meeting Meg for the first time, or Meg's followers are finding me for the first time, we are both on social media. I think you can get to our handles from this. We also posted things with our handles. We have Instagram. We both have YouTube channels where this video will be posted on Meg's YouTube. 2 weeks from now will be our Omnipod 5 video where Meg will be answering questions about Omnipod 5. That will go on my YouTube channel. My CEO of Dexcom interviews on YouTube. So there's so much more for you to learn and see with us, and just you know, to be more part of this community and get involved. Feel free to comment questions like on YouTube, you know, and whether it's us getting back to you or even the people that follow us, like people are so supportive and we'll make sure that your question's answered. And if for some reason we didn't answer it because sometimes life gets in the way, which it should, feel free to DM or, you know, ask that question again, because we want to get back to you and stuff. This is fun.
I know. I love this. I can't wait. 2 weeks, guys. Meet us back here, 7 p.m. Eastern time on IG Live, but we'll be on Justin's account next time talking about the Omnipod 5. Thank you, Justin, for hopping on here. It was so awesome to hear about G7. Fingers crossed.
Of course.
Omnipod 5 soon.
Yes. Very soon.
I wish everyone the best of blood sugars and send in love to you all. All right. Bye.